Yes, I'm back on the Gesso again. What annoys me about Airfix is that so many of them are yellow, and to put white Gesso on yellow figures is not easy. You can do it, but it doesn't look quite right. Whereas with the red ones, you know where you are. You can see it. You know you've got a thin coating on there. You can see the after effects, and you've got a base to paint on. The fact that these red ones look a bit patchy, they're not really. There's still a thin coating on there on the, you know, the darkest red bits that you can still see, but the yellow ones, it's not quite the same, is it? This may be, if you've got yellow figures, which a lot of Airfix are, is to do a different colour Gesso, do a grey one. I'd suggest it will give you a much better effect. You can see where you're at, and maybe do a wash over them as well to bring out the detail. You can do it, but I find it awkward. But we shall see what the after effects are. The grey ones, the red ones, fine. You know where you are. You can see where you've got with them. The yellow ones, they still look a bit yellow, but you know, we shall see. We shall see how they all pan out and see if you can tell the difference at the end of the job. So let's carry on. This little guy here came in a gift I got from Paul Carruthers, and I can't figure him out really. He looks like a Airfix Grenadier. He's got all the detail of the uniform, but he seems to have a head from the Washington's army, the guy holding the flag. I've tried for the life of me to figure out, you know, whether it's been joined on there or not, but he's an interesting one, this one, so I'll be bringing him in as well. Another thing I'm going to point out about these Airfix one is everything is so bloody bendy. You know, the muskets are bendy, the bayonets are bendy. Some of these figures are probably 40 years old, and I've collected them over the years from eBay and various gifts and things like that. So they are quite awkward. They're not going to look straight, but let's see at the end of the job whether it looks effective. So I'm going to carry on now, do a bit of trimming on the flash. Might have to re-gesso little bits of it, like this one here. Bit of flash on the musket that he's got there. Trim those off. I do find trimming these soft figures quite awkward because, first of all, they bend. It is an awkward thing to do, and they get a bit, let's just use the word scraggy. Probably a Geordie word, but yeah, it is awkward getting to trim the flash off these. If they were hard plastic, it wouldn't be an issue. If they're metal, it wouldn't be an issue. I mean, look at these Hobbits that came with War Games Illustrated. You know, there's no problems with them at all. The Airfix ones, different matter. Anyway, that's just my little rant there about the problems with soft plastic, which you will also have if you're doing the same sort of thing. Hat are the same, Esky are the same, Italeri, slightly harder plastic, but let's see how we get on. Okay. Small point here, I've got one of these halogen lamps that you stick on the back of the front of your house, which are there to scare the foxes off. It does give off a lot of heat, which I find really handy. It's very bright, and by the time I finished painting the 36 figure on my unit, the first one's dry. So yeah, it's really useful. Just a quick tip there. Sorry about the sort of slurring of the speech here, but I lost a tooth at Christmas at the front of my mouth, so it's as if I'm talking through false teeth. It's an age thing. So the gesso was applied last night, and it is now well and truly tempered because it's been on there all night. The thing is, as I was just mentioning about the light I've got above me, these were ready to go within about 5 minutes of the gesso being applied, but I thought I'd just let them dry out overnight so that everything has got ready to go. Another thing I'm going to point out is that there's, on some of these figures, there's a little bit of flash. I've trimmed off the really awkward ones, the really ridiculous looking ones, but the rest of them I'm just going to paint warts and all, as Oliver Cromwell once said when he had his portrait painted. So we'll see at the end of this if you notice any flash on them or anything strange. So that's what we shall do. So I've now done a red wash on the hands and on the faces. I squeezed out too much red paint as well, preparing to do this, so rather than let it go to waste, I decided to just go around and do the horses in red, and also did about 3/4 of the jackets on these men. Usually what I do is paint all the black bits after doing the red wash, but since I had the red paint, let's not waste it, just put it to use. So that's what I've done. So I'll finish off doing the rest of the red uniforms, or red jackets rather, on these red coats, and then do the shakos and the bayonets. These figures have been around since 1972. Some of the ones that I've got here may well be from 1972, so some of them could be, you know, getting on for 50 years old. And considering the moulds are so old and very early on in the sort of 1/72 scale history, there is a surprising amount of detail on these. You know, we've got the buttons on the cuffs of the sleeves, there's a fair amount of detail on the shakos. All the equipment is more or less accurate, with the bullet pouches etc. around the back. The turn-ups aren't very good on the back of the jackets. The footwear is all there, and all the fingers are quite distinct as well, so doing the wash does bring out the fingers on these, and the faces are quite detailed as well. There's hair on the backs of the heads, you've got ears, full facial features. So I haven't looked at these for quite a while, but I was quite impressed with the amount of detail on these. They're still a bit basic, but not a bad effort from Airfix, I'd say. So let's crack on with it.